There it is. The sweet, sweet sounds of una fiesta de Cinco de Mayo. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. They haven't joined us yet, but they will. And those of you who watch this later, thanks for joining us as well. My dear friend Brett, happy Cinco de Mayo to everyone. I've made myself a delicious virgin margarita, which I think at this point is just lime juice and agave syrup and some ice, but it's so good. It's refreshing. And I have chips and salsa. I'm excited for today. Brett, we've got Ruben Aceves joining us from Guadalajara, and he is the global brand ambassador of Tequila Herradura. So stoked to be able to talk to him and really do what Social Distance Drinking Club was designed for in the long run, was to connect with people in places that we can't be at a moment's notice. So we get to connect with someone in Guadalajara right now and talk tequila on what better day to do it, Cinco de Mayo. As always, I will introduce you guys to my co-hosts and find out what they are drinking. But first and foremost, we want to know what you are drinking. Brett, I'll start with you. Anyone in the comments can also tell us what they are drinking as well. Brett, what are you drinking?
So I got our weekend day drink. I didn't order from our guests from why am I blanking on the shop name? Right? Casual Wine. Just this over, and I've got Tune Dip from Drecker that I was out in some other spots. So I had a little bit earlier or the other day, and it was delightful. And I'm excited for our Cinco de Mayo show, though I'm a little bit sad we missed an opportunity to have the classy alcoholic alienate half of our audience by yelling at them about cultural appropriation of Cinco de Mayo and people just not knowing what it is for.
I'm with you. And we'll talk about that in a minute, too, because the history of Cinco de Mayo is interesting. Adam Ledford.
Hey, what's going on, you guys?
Whoa, clicked on the wrong thing. Old stuff. But happy Cinco de Mayo. What are you drinking?
There is only one thing to drink on Cinco de Mayo. Delicious, delicious Herradura margarita.
Salud. You made an Herradura margarita. I love it. Thank you.
Hey, yours has alcohol in it.
That's true. That's true.
Thank you, guys. I really look forward to hearing more about it. Got a handful of people coming in watching us right now. Thank you guys for joining us. We do want to know what you're drinking. Tell us in the comments. Adam Green is a blank screen, but hey, Adam.
It's Revenge of the Fifth.
Yeah.
You never distanced him so quickly.
I thought it was Return of the Jedi.
I think that's distancing.
Adam, what are you drinking? That was great.
I'm going to be drinking the tequila, but also have a little neonic.
Ooh, very nice.
Some sour ale with coconut key lime dreams.
I love it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Revenge of the Fifth.
It is Revenge of the Fifth. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I did not mean to give you a full distancing there. So it is Revenge of the Fifth. For anyone who
It looks cooler than
that sad with the hat on.
Hey, we're looking at some comments real quick. I'm super excited to have Ruben on talk Herradura and talk life in Guadalajara. Trish, thank you for joining us. Lorenzo, I know you're here. Thank you for helping us out. We've got people drinking some Herradura Ultra-Añejo at the moment. Yeah, this should be a good time. So without further ado, gentlemen, if you don't mind, we're going to have a conversation with Ruben. I'll pull you guys in if you've got questions. Please take a look at the comments. For any of you guys watching right now, just pop in questions whenever you want. We're going to have a casual conversation. But before I begin, I will briefly introduce Ruben Aceves, who has been with Tequila Herradura for 20 years, I believe. He'll correct me if I'm wrong. This is the 20th year. He's been there since the year 2000. He is the equivalent of a sommelier when it comes to tequila, a tequilero, and a proud resident of, or I guess a proud person of origin from Tapatio, if I'm not mistaken. We've had a few conversations, and mind you, I'm reading a bio in Spanish, and I've turned it into English. So,
Bueno.
150 years as how long Herradura has been around. This is the 150th year this year. So we are celebrating with them today. There's not a specific date. It is just, this is year 150. And annually they get over 30,000 visitors out there. He's going to tell us more about where Casa Herradura is, where they're located, what's unique about them. And without further ado, gentlemen, a quick hello to Ruben, and then I will send you to the back. Ruben, you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Very nice to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. You've met my co-hosts already, obviously, backstage. I just wanted to make sure you had a chance to say hello. And a quick salud from all of us.
Yes. Salud.
What are you drinking, Ruben?
I'm drinking Herradura Silver.
Ooh.
Perfect.
Herradura Silver. Here it is.
Let's talk Herradura. Gents,
Yes.
back with you in a moment. Let's talk Herradura. Ruben, thank you so much for your time. It is amazing to have you here joining us from Mexico to talk tequila and to talk life in Guadalajara at the moment during quarantine in the Casa de Quarantine that you're in at the moment, right?
Yes, I am. I've been here for 5 weeks already.
5 weeks.
5 weeks at home, yes.
Okay. And you're not out of tequila yet?
No. I would never run out of tequila, trust me. So I have plenty. So I do my tequila every day. I do, before lunch, couple of ounces of tequila, Herradura Silver every day. So I cannot run out of. I've been doing that for the last 46 years. So I cannot afford myself to run out of tequila.
Was it 46 years of Herradura Silver every time?
46 years of Herradura Silver before lunch every single day. 2 ounces, sipping in a nice snifter glass.
I need to get myself a nice snifter glass, Brett.
Yes, of course. You do that.
So you've been there for the last 5 weeks. For people who don't know you, obviously your title is down there, Global Brand Ambassador. You're quite well traveled, and I'm sure plenty of people have plenty of questions for you. Tons of people have been online doing live streams today. They've talked tequila. They've talked about the state, the tequila origin and agave. What I want to know is, tell us more about Herradura. And then you and I earlier were talking about how Herradura is not in tequila, right?
That's right, yes.
But
So Casa Herradura, it's been around for 150 years. As you said it before, this is our 150th anniversary. So we're very proud of that. We're very happy of that. There's only very few companies in the industry that can say that they've been around for 150 years. And ever since, we have been located in this amazing compound that we call down in Mexico a true, authentic hacienda. So we are the last true living tequila hacienda in the planet. Within the industry, you have 153, 154 tequila distilleries, but this is the only one based in a real authentic hacienda, which is based in the town of Amatitan. Amatitan, which is 25 miles north of Guadalajara, 7 miles short of Tequila Town. Amatitan happens to be the real birthplace for tequila.
so that's the original birthplace of tequila, because a lot of people liken tequila to champagne, cognac, that it has to come from a specific region or a specific city or state, right?
That is right. Tequila has to come from a very specific area, basically 5 states. The big one is the state of Jalisco, where we are based, which is the state that you can grow agave and produce tequila anywhere in the entire state of Jalisco. The other 4 states, there are only very limited areas within the state at which you can grow agave and produce tequila. So Tequila Town is in the state of Jalisco. Amatitan is in the state of Jalisco, which is where the whole thing happened at the very beginning, Amatitan.
Amatitan. And I will definitely put that in the comments here, because when you and I spoke about this earlier and you told me about Amatitan, the first thing I did is go straight to Google Maps to find it.
You'll find it. It's right in between Guadalajara and Tequila.
So I'm looking at the comments. I've got something for you, but real quick, Robin Argerbright, fan of the show, she watches, asked, regardless of brand, I think even regardless of brand, I know what brand he's going to tell you he likes. Your favorite tequila to sit and sip slowly. That's your daily 2-ounce drink, right?
It's an interesting question. I only sip tequila. I never blend, never mix. And if you have a beautiful margarita you want me to try, which I do all the time, like a judge, people want me to try their margaritas, I can do that, I can enjoy them. But my go-to thing is always sipping tequila. And with this, it's a little bit of a challenging thing because people often say, well, this is a real sipping tequila and this is a margarita tequila.
Right.
Honestly, if you want to enjoy a tequila, first of all, you have to make sure that you can sip that tequila. If for any reason it's not a sipping tequila, don't even use it for cocktails. If it's not a sipping tequila, there's something wrong with it. So the best way to try or enjoy a tequila to begin with, it has to be sipping it very slowly, always sipping very slowly. So that's what I do, and that's what I've been doing for the last 46 years, only sipping tequila. And my go-to, as I said, it's always blanco or silver. I can enjoy reposados, I can enjoy añejo, but my go-to is always blanco silver.
And I actually have a picture of, if I'm not mistaken, the bottle that is your daily drink.
Exactly, blanco original, blanco. That's the way I call it. And the only sad thing about that tequila is that it's not available in the U.S.
What do we have to do? What do we have to do?
Well, we're working on it. But that's exactly the bottle, the tequila, which is unique because that tequila, it's non-aged and it's 92 proof. The Herradura Silver that I have here with me, and the one, some of you guys got a sample, it's a 45 days aged Blanco, 80 proof. The one I drink, it's 92 proof, non-aged. The Herradura Silver, it's 45 days aged and 80 proof. So it's a couple of differences.
Interesting. All right, so and we're going to get to that point. I know I gave Añejo Reposado Silver to the boys. They've all got a sample, and you can talk us through that here in a few minutes. One of the questions that I found came up more than once today, talking to people who knew we were doing this tonight. You said, obviously, you like to sip your tequila, and I do as well. However, I'm sure people have asked you to have a margarita or to, you said, judge a margarita contest, something like that. What is the most surprisingly good margarita you've had in your global travels? Because you've traveled all over the world as a brand ambassador for Casa de Herradura. So was there ever a time where you were in a place, a country, a city, a bar, and you were shocked at how delicious a margarita might have been?
Yes, I do travel the world. We sell our tequilas in 80 countries outside of Mexico. So we are here and there, traveling, checking on sales and plans and all the things we need to do to sell and grow our tequila everywhere. And yes, I happen to be judged for cocktails in a lot of places, so I do enjoy them. It's a tough question because I don't want to be unfair to a lot of people. Maybe some of them might somehow be listening to me, and I don't want to hurt their feelings.
So without saying anything bad about anybody, what about the one time you went somewhere and you were just shocked at how good something was, or maybe you didn't expect it?
It was once, maybe 13 years ago, once in Prague, Czech Republic. So I became a judge for this. There were like 25, 30 bartenders. And so they all made different types of margaritas. And there was one there, as simple as it can be, but it was just the perfect balance. And it was made with one of our brands. It was made with El Jimador, which is one of the tequila that we produce. And it was just amazing, an amazing made. So I do always remember that one in Prague, Czech Republic.
Well, there you have it. That's I would not expect to have an amazing margarita in Prague. So I'm going to
be surprised. You can even have it in Japan. You can have it in the UK. I mean, that's why I said I don't want to be unfair, because there's a lot of them beautiful out there.
I believe it. We've got some questions coming through. Adam, who is one of our hosts, obviously said 150 years is some serious hipster cred. Yes, 150 years is a lot of history, which is amazing that we have you here during year 150. People are talking about how they prefer to sip it neat. Any secrets of what to drink now so I wake up in the morning alive? A little bit of humor here. Our dear friend Chris McGuffin, he has a whole bottle already. Now what does he do? Is there a hangover cure in Guadalajara that's specific to maybe Guadalajara or to Jalisco or like Mexico in general? What's the hangover cure?
Go get spicy food. Tortas ahogadas. Torta ahogada is like a Mexican sandwich. It's a pretty. It's like a baguette, like a Mexican salty baguette, if you will, and then you stuff it with a lot of pork, meat, then tomato salsa, non-spicy, and then this real spicy salsa with a lot of onion. So that's what people do. They tortas ahogadas for the hangover.
Ahogadas.
Yeah, you can Google it. Guadalajara's torta ahogada.
If I'm not mistaken, that should be right.
Exactly. That's perfect.
Perfect. And that's always a favorite question to ask, of course, is what the hangover cure is, because in different countries, in different regions, everyone's got something different, right? But spicy food, that's my thing too. For sure, I love to have some spicy food, especially my family being from North Africa. We're junkies for spicy food. Just harissa is a common North African condiment that is made of tons of spicy peppers. We put it on everything. But sometimes it's a nice hangover cure in the morning. Let's see here. I want to look back just real quick. Jamil asks, do you like your tequila chilled or warm?
Never chilled.
Never chilled.
I wouldn't say warm. I would say room temperature.
Okay.
Because of course, warm means that if you left your bottle, on the trunk of your car, when it was really hot out there, it will be warm like a tea. So don't do that. Room temperature.
Room temperature.
Never chill. What happens is anytime you chill tequila, it loses a lot of organoleptical compounds, meaning a lot of character, a lot of flavor. So room temperature is the best.
Perfect. And then one more fun question, and we'll come back around to talking about a few other things that I have here. Jamil also asked, these are two questions back to back from him. Do you have a favorite music artist to listen to while relaxing and enjoying tequila? You've had 5 weeks of sitting in Casa de Quarantine. What have you been listening to, Ruben?
That's a great question. I listen. It all depends on the mood you wake up that day. It all depends on, even though we're in quarantine, I'm always doing things like this. I'm having meetings with, my colleagues over the computer. So it all depends on the mood. But I like, romantic Mexican food. So the Mexican singers, I follow a lot of Emmanuel, Luis Miguel, Maná. So I follow a lot of that. But I listen. I enjoy everything. So it all depends on the mood. But I do enjoy any type of music.
I think that's a fair answer. Jamil, thank you. And I do want to bring in, so a couple of the co-hosts you met earlier have some questions as well. I want to bring them in, and then we'll keep circling through this conversation. Again, thank you for joining us, Ruben. I know it's 2 hours ahead in Guadalajara right now, but everyone's still wide awake in Arizona, and we've got a few dozen people who've joined us. First things first, I believe Adam Green, did you have a question for him? Adam Green.
Yeah, Ruben, I know, because I'm still new to tequila myself, especially sipping tequila, and I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who are similar to me, or at least I hope I'm not alone like that. And curious, what do you look for that makes tequila good? When you're drinking it, what are the notes, what are the flavors? Like, what are you looking for? You say, that was good tequila.
It all depends on which one. No, it's interesting. When you make tequila, you basically make one tequila, blanco. That's what you get when you finish up the entire process, which is like a 7-step process. What you get in the end, it's a blanco tequila, clean, crystal, like vodka. That's how it looks. It doesn't taste like vodka, but it looks like vodka. So if you're sipping a blanco, you're looking more for herbaceous, spicier notes, such as pepper, citrus, spearmint, lime. Cooked agave always. There has to be cooked agave always there. Cooked agave for you would be more kind of like a sweet potato sweetness.
Okay.
And if you move into reposado, now you spend some time in the oak, whether it's American oak or French oak, whether it's white oak or black oak. It all depends which is the type of barrels or wood you're using. But then you still need to find the cooked agave that a sweet potato, but then you're looking for vanilla, you're looking for chocolate, you're looking for orange zest, you're looking for cinnamon, maybe a little bit of flowers, So there has to be a lot of balance.
Yeah.
Not that you have to find everything, but that's kind of like the balance of reposado I'm looking for. And if you think about añejo, then you're going more into the charred oak, dark chocolate, butterscotch, a lot of vanilla, a little bit of caramel. That's kind of like how I would describe a nice silver repo and añejo.
So a lot of variance there. It sounds like with the styles that a lot of people probably wouldn't think about.
The secret also, it has to be very well rounded, meaning when you sip your tequila, you pass it around your mouth for 1 or 2 seconds, so every single taste bud in your mouth will enjoy something, and it has to be like a nice wine. So it has to be very well rounded all over your palate, and then it has to have a very nice, smooth, long finish.
So you're going to walk us through some of that with the samples. That Adam, you have yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Brett and Adam they have theirs. So you're going to walk us through some of that in a couple of minutes. I want to talk just briefly about whether everyone here knows it or not. I think it's nice to revisit like just a Reader's Digest version of how tequila is made, from agave to the fornos to the distilling process. And I know you touched on what you're looking for when you make a tequila, when you distill tequila, but I'm going to put up some photos real quick. Adam, will come back to you. I want to talk about how tequila is made and how long it takes, for example, to establish an agave farm that becomes tequila.
Well, first, you have to grow agave and harvest that agave. The secret of great agave is you should harvest that agave not before 7 years. So that answers your question about farming. You can plant your baby agave. You need to wait 7 years for that agave to be ready, to be mature. The agave is not a fruit, but if you think about a fruit, you will enjoy the fruit only when it's ripe. Before, if it's not ripe, it won't taste any good. So grow agave for 7 years, then that agave has to be harvested. So jimadores, the harvesters, they come in, they chop all the leaves, pencas around the agave. You get only the heart of the agave and take it to the hornos. To the hornos, there are brick ovens. You can do stainless steel ovens or brick ovens. So you want to go away from the stainless steel ovens. Stay with the brick ovens. You cook the agave for 26 hours. You let it cool down for 9 hours so you can bring it out of the oven. You will smash all that agave so you can get all the juice, all the agave syrup out of that agave. That agave syrup will be blended with water. That blend of water and agave syrup will have to be sent to the fermentation area. Fermentation area is the process through which you convert sugar into alcohol. Once it's converted, that agave mosto, like agave most, which is lost all the sweetness, now it's a bit of a like acidic, like tart. Then it will be sent to the distillation area. Distillation area will convert the alcohol, the low proof alcohol, into high proof spirit. So it's growing agave, harvesting agave, cooking the agaves, getting the juice out of the agave, fermentation, distillation for a blanco tequila, then aging for a reposado and añejo tequila.
So I want to come back. We're backtracking real quick. I have some photos that actually complement what you were talking about. Jimadores, for example, first one I had ready to go, but I want to show everybody that real quick. I have that photo there.
So you can see that at that plant, it's important to know that the agave grows above ground. It's not an underground plant like onions or carrots. It goes above ground. He will be shaving off all those spiky leaves, and the heart of the agave is right in the middle of that plant.
Okay.
So that's what jimadores do. Take those spiky leaves away.
And the kind of fast forwarding a bit, but the next step there, the fornos.
Exactly. So it's horno with an H.
Horno.
So it's horno with an H. Not
for me.
with
That's the Berber in me, right? I use
exactly.
Forno.
You got your language. So that is the agave you get out of the heart of the plant once you shaved away all the spiky leaves. And those are the hornos, the oven windows. And you'll have to stick those agaves by hand, one by one, into the oven. There will be 5 people inside the oven waiting for the agave to come in, sent by their colleagues. Everything is done by hand. So you have to load those ovens with 40 tons of agave.
One by one.
One by one.
40 tons of agave. That's a lot.
And you can see you have 15 ovens in that photo. So we bring 200 tons of agave to the Horno area every single day throughout the entire year. So every day we load 5 ovens. Every day we unload the ovens we loaded yesterday, and so on and so forth.
So looking at this photo and looking at the Jimador, and that led me to a question. So does Herradura source their agave from anywhere else, or do they own all the farms that the agave comes from, that they make their tequila from?
We farm our own agave.
All of it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I mean, so how many other tequileras, would that be?
Tequileras.
Tequileras. How many other tequileras would be able to say the same, that they farm their own agave?
Within the industry, there's 152, 153 different distilleries. But
Okay.
80% of them are super tiny. So it's easy to say that a lot of them can source their own agave because they don't need that much. I mean, they produce 10,000 cases a year. We produce 5 million. So it's big number difference, no? So if you're at 10,000 cases a year, you can source your agave. So, but if you think about the big ones, none. They don't source their own agave. They buy from the open market.
But you guys do.
Yes, we do.
Perfect. That answered that question. The next question I have for you is, that bottle that we showed everybody earlier, was that 92 proof. That was the original recipe?
It's the original SKU or packaging from the very beginning, and the first tequila we released to the public. The recipe remains the same. The same recipe we did in those days for that tequila, the same recipe we do nowadays for every tequila that we make. The only difference in between that tequila and a reposado like this is that we brought the proof down from 92 proof to 80, and we aged this tequila for 11 months. That's the only difference. But in reality, everything begins with that one. And it's the same recipe ever since.
Perfect. Guys, any questions you have for Ruben, please pop them in the comments. Ruben, I want you to take us through some tasting notes now. I'm going to bring the boys in. I'll step away. And also, once we're done with that, we've got our friends here in Arizona, Bobby Kramer at the Brickyard, and then Brandon Casey from Casey's Woodshed. He's also tasting with us right now. He's going to be tasting with us. And Bobby, I believe, is going to make an Herradura, either a margarita or some sort of cocktail he's been working on today. So I'll bring those guys in. If you guys have any questions at all, please pop them in. Kevin was asking us to elaborate on Añejo, Silver, Reposado, and then touch on Mezcal, which we can do at the end of this because Mezcal is a totally different beast. But we do have Añejo, Silver, and Reposado in everyone's hands. So Adam Ledford, Adam Green, Brett Berry. Gentlemen.
You want to begin with Silver? So
Yes,
Herradura Silver again. I'm sorry.
I will let you, sorry, Ruben, I will let you talk them through this. And for those of you who are watching, please pop in questions, comments. If you have some Herradura, if you have any tequila, pour it anyways, because Ruben's going to talk us through how to taste tequila in general, any tequila, how to look for tasting notes and how to sip it like he did earlier. So
First of all, let me pour myself a little bit at least. So
Ruben, the show is yours, and the boys are yours.
So this is how to drink tequila in a nice glass, mostly like a flute or like a sniffed tequila. It's a silver tequila. Like I said, this silver tequila it's 80 proof, and it's 45 days aged. So a blanco can still be aged as long as you don't age it 60 days. If you age all the way to 60 days, then it becomes a reposado. So this one is 45 days, and that's why it remains a blanco. Silver means the same. It's just a nicer way to name it in English or Spanish. Blanco, silver, plata, it means the same. So this is a 45 days aged, 80 proof tequila, And what I always do when I'm about to drink it, I like watching at the color. I like watching, at the legs, the viscosity it produces in my glass. I always nose the tequila. Every single sip I will do, regardless if I'm drinking the entire bottle. Every time I'm gonna have a sip, I nose it first.
How many times have you drank the entire bottle?
Oh, many times. many. Responsibly, but many. And slowly, of course. So this is where you're looking for. This is what we're talking about. You're looking for. So breathe in with your nose, exhale with your mouth. And this is where you should get in love with the tequila. Sometimes when you know some other tequilas, you nose them and you go like, oh my God, what is this? In this case, you know this tequila, and it's beautiful. It has balance. You can find a little bit of that spearmint, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of citrus, and a lot of cooked agave. So then you have a sip. Pass it around your mouth. It goes down. You can enjoy a lot of different notes everywhere in your taste buds. Inside, it's spicy notes in the upper palate, sweet notes on the tip of your tongue, kind of like fruity notes on the front sides of your tongue, and it has a very nice, spicy, herbaceous, beautiful finish. It's not harsh. It's warm. Has a long finish, so stays there. Even if you breathe in right now, you can still enjoy a lot of that, a lot of that complexity. You can tell it's an agave spirit. You can tell it's a beautiful spirit to sip. It has nothing to do with shooting tequila with a lime and salt. You don't need nothing of that, because on its own, this is what we were saying a while ago, it is a beautiful sipping tequila. Can you make a margarita with this? Of course you can make a beautiful margarita. If you want to make beautiful margaritas, you have to use beautiful sipping tequilas. If the tequila is not a sipping tequila, don't use it for margaritas. So this is again, beautiful viscosity, lots of character, spicy notes, nice, beautiful, long finish.
Yeah, I like the descriptor spicy. That's definitely a good way to describe it. Are you guys in American oak for your aging?
The aging, it's always white American oak, yes.
Very cool.
So we also are the only tequila company that we source our own barrels. So we have our own cooperage. We don't buy used barrels from no one. We make our own barrels. We have a cooperage up in Kentucky, and we get all our barrels from there. That's again another big difference. That's what sets you apart when you're making tequila. It's where you grow the agave, how long you grow the agave, how long you cook the agave, where you cook the agave, and so on and so far. It's because in the end, they're all tequilas, they're all from Mexico, but if you taste 5, 6, 7 different tequila brands side by side, you will find that they're all completely different. Some of them might be nice, some of them will not. Some of them will be beautiful. It's how you follow your recipe, where you age. There's a lot of things involved.
Now, barrel aging has always been fairly popular, but is now incredibly popular in the beer community. And every once in a while, especially those of us in the industry, will run across some tequila barrel-aged beers. Do you guys ever have Herradura barrels go to beer production?
Yes, we have. So not that we have done it ourselves, but we have a lot of accounts in Atlanta, in New York, in Arizona, that they have aged beer in our barrels. So when you get to buy your own single barrel, we will ship you the empty barrel you bought. We'll send you the bottles that we got from the barrel, and we'll ship you your empty barrel. And that empty barrel, you will send it to a brewery, and they will age beer for you in your barrel. So a lot of people have done that, and the outcome, it's beautiful, beautiful. So you can do that, yes. But you have to buy the entire barrel from us, so we can send you the barrel that you select.
Oh, absolutely.
Gentlemen, real quick, as we move on from silver to our next tasting, we do have a couple of our guests here. Bobby, I see you back there. Hang tight. He's going to make us a cocktail. We might do this in between tastings. I do have our dear friend, Brandon Casey. Adam Ledford, if you don't mind, I'll pop you out for a quick second so I can bring him in. Brandon Casey, how are you, my friend?
Doing well. How are you guys?
Hello.
I see you with your nails there. Salud.
Salud. Salud.
So, did you follow? And you were backstage for a bit. You followed along, and you had a chance to taste silver with our dear friend Ruben.
I did. Ruben, pleasure. Nice to meet you. Yeah, my wife is finishing up dinner right now, so I've got enough time to chat about some Repo, which is actually my favorite expression of any tequila. I like the Herradura, especially because you still get the cooked agave notes on it, and then that caramel, the vanilla from the cooperage from the American oak really shines through. But the ABV is fantastic. The mouthfeel is amazing. I'm a Repo guy.
Yeah, it's a beautiful tequila. So you want to do that, or do the cocktail?
Let's talk Reposado, and then I think Bobby has a quick minute to do the cocktail if we make him wait 2 minutes. And in that time, I'll also get rid of this hat I hate so much. It's gone now.
Let's jump into Reposado. I love it that you love it. It is a beautiful tequila. This tequila is very special for many reasons. First, because it was the first ever Reposado made in the entire industry. So when I think it was Adam saying that, what about them? It's becoming a Reposado favorite. The first Reposado ever made was made by Tequila Herradura in 1974. So you think about it, it's not that long ago. If you think about the tequila industry, goes all the way back from 1521. 1521, first tequila made. First tequila made by Herradura, 1870. First Reposado tequila ever made by anyone, Herradura, in 1974. So that's one thing. The other thing is that 90% of Reposados are aged for 2 months. That is the minimum you need to age a tequila to become a Reposado. This is the only tequila in the market that it's aged for 11 months. 11 months.
Right under the Añejo threshold.
1 month short of becoming an Añejo. So that's why you get a lot of complexity, a lot of character, because it's just 1 month shy of an Añejo. So it's a beautiful Reposado. I think you describe it well. You get a lot of vanilla. You get a little bit of cinnamon. I get some orange zest. I get a lot of cooked agave. And I get a little bit of charred oak. But for me, it's simple. It's vanilla, it's cinnamon, it's cooked agave, orange zest, and a little bit of the tiny hints of charred oak. This tequila, it's aged in 55-gallon capacity white American oak barrels, and they're medium toast and medium char. So that's important. You can mingle on how much you toast and char. I'm sorry, you wanted to say something.
Like a level 4 char, not like an alligator, but like a 4, 3 or 4.
We handle 3. Level 1, level 2, and level 3. So this is somewhere in the middle. So medium toast and medium char.
Nice. I mean, I love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Of course, again, if you make cocktails with this, the only thing I would say when you want to make cocktails, if you want to make a cocktail with silver, think about the recipe you will make. Fresh lime squeeze, agave syrup, and Herradura silver, and that's it. You want to make some of the things like cranberry juice, or you do Grand Marnier,
or an old fashioned.
Yes, exactly. So it all depends. That's why I always say, well, tequila margarita. Tequila margarita for me is the first one I said. Fresh lime squeeze, agave syrup, and tequila. That's a margarita. Anything else you blend with tequila, it's a tequila cocktail, but it's not a margarita. That's my personal point of view. Margarita is the first one. But you can make beautiful old fashions. You can make beautiful whatever you want to call that cocktail with tequila. And you can even make it with Añejo. Some people even ask, can you really make a cocktail with Añejo? Of course you can. It'll be an amazing cocktail if you find the right recipe. Well, let's have a sip of Reposado.
And this is the perfect transition, salud, gentlemen, to our dear friend, Bobby Kramer, who is behind the bar at the Brickyard and a fan of the show, one of our cocktail correspondents, as is Brandon Casey. Brandon, I know you have dinner to get to, so we'll let you go. Dinner
just got ready, so thank you guys.
Hey, thanks for dropping all the knowledge.
Buen provecho.
If you guys need anything. See you guys later.
Wings without wheels. You can pick up wings and tequila from that guy, too.
Hey, Ruben, I appreciate this Reposado. It does feel like, as somebody that likes to drink a lot of like bourbon and whiskeys, this seems to have more tasting notes that are similar to that. It makes sense that you're saying you can make an old fashioned with it.
I see the tequila.
I have no idea how many people I have converted from whiskey to Reposado Añejo Herradura.
Well, I mean, I've learned to appreciate tequila differently in the last probably year or so, because I was a big fan of Scotch and bourbons, and like Reposados Añejos, there's a lot of depth and character to them.
Mm-hmm.
And you talked about like making old fashions and that kind of thing. I'm curious what our dear friend Bobby Kramer,
hey everybody,
Senor Correspondents. Bobby, you are at the Brickyard in downtown Chandler right now. You've got some Herradura there, and obviously, I don't know if you've met Ruben or you talked to Ruben the other day when we had a quick chat.
There you go, Reposado.
Great to see you, Ruben. And hi to Lorenzo, everybody. Nick, I saw you give me a shout out too, so just want to say what's up to everybody. Look into Adam's eyes really deeply.
Thank you. Ruben doesn't get that joke, but if he watches the show long enough, he will. What are we making, Bobby? I want to tell everybody what we're making, and then we're going to cut just to you so we can see what you're making.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to keep it as simple as possible. I mean, really not a lot of prep time. I wanted to go something really delicious. So if you look just to my right, you'll see a bottle of Squirt, all right? And then I also have a lovely bottle of Herradura Reposado, which is also one of my favorites. Absolutely unbelievable. You get some beautiful caramel from the wood. Obviously, you still get the cooked agave nectar, and I actually get a little spice, a little bit of cinnamon from it. And for me, definitely with how hot it is in Arizona, going something a little bit lighter, refreshing, but still keeping some of those baking spices into it. Grapefruit and cinnamon, classic tiki pairing. And so there's nothing better than, I think, Herradura Reposado Paloma. So we're going to just jump right into it, make it as easy as possible for everyone, for sure.
It's a piece of cake, right? 2 ingredients.
Oh, yeah, it's super simple. So what I have here is I always like to have some type of chili salt. This is going to be a recipe Michael and I came up with years and years ago and just absolutely fell in love with it. So it's equal parts salt and sugar with about half a part of some type of red chili flake. Now, I wouldn't do red chili flake. I do some like chili powder or anything. Right now, I have a Korean chili flake in there. It gives it a beautiful color, texture. So all I'm going to do is take some lime. I like to do a crusta. It gives me the option. If I really don't want that much more salt on it, I can have, I can drink from the other side because I'm an adult. All right? So because I'm here with friends and it's Cinco de Mayo, I got several ready, and I'll show you just how simple this cocktail is. You're allowed to be here with friends. I'm not allowed here with friends, but I do have a chef here and another chef and then a bar manager, so that counts. So I'm going to take my Herradura Reposado. I'm going to do a healthy pour of each. I'm doing about 2 ounces in this one just because it is Cinco de Mayo. Might as well celebrate. On my eyes. That one's mine because I'm touching it. And or Michael's. All right. I'm going to take my lime. I'm going to squeeze about half a lime into each one and just drop the peel right in there.
Well, Bobby, how many of these have you made today? Because at this point, I think you guys have been pedaling away at palomas and tacos since the start of the afternoon, right?
We've made a ton. We actually did a USBG event that we opened up to the public with Maestro Dobel that we got some Paloma kits. It was tacos, tequila, and teepee.
And toilet paper, yes, the quintessential thing that everyone is looking for at the moment.
Correct.
So now the finishing touch, right?
Finishing touch. So we're gonna take some squirt or any type of just grapefruit soda.
I mean, it looks delicious. Can I get one of these to go now? Are you closed yet?
I like to give it just a little stir so we can get throughout the entire cocktail. And again, just really simple cocktail. This is one of my first ones I learned to make. It's one of my mom's favorites. Literally really easy to do at home. And I think that's makes some of the best cocktails is something really simple, easy, but at the same time, you're still bringing out all the flavors. So the Herradura doesn't get lost. You add a really cool spice and a little bit of age with the Reposado. Obviously, if you want something a little bit lighter, citrusy, or a little bit more fruit to it, I would go the silver. And then if you want to bump up that age, taste a little bit more spices, go Añejo, or even Cristalino would be great too. But yeah, just really simple Paloma for Cinco.
Well,
Beautiful.
cheers,
Beautiful. Love it.
what do you think, Ruben?
I like it. It's a very popular mix here in Mexico, Paloma. You would say that, 60% of people down in Mexico, they drink tequila blend with like a Paloma, whether it's tequila with Coke or tequila with squirt, in a way of like a Paloma with the salt and lime. So that's how people do it. It's very fresh, it's very easy, and it's very popular. So I love it, yeah. And again, if you make it with a great tequila like Herradura Reposado, even better.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's so many cocktails. One thing we'll probably touch on eventually. I just unfortunately kind of cleaned up, so you didn't want to make a mess. But there's a French intervention cocktail that's also a modern classic that's absolutely unbelievable for a stirred cocktail. I think we'll feature it with Herradura here so we can show everybody that cocktail in the future too.
And that leads me to a great segue, Bobby. Thank you, because before we move on to the Añejo, Ruben,
Yes.
it is Cinco de Mayo. People have misconceptions about what Cinco de Mayo is. They don't realize that it was a war with the French.
Exactly.
It was another French intervention, correct? So
That's what they wanted to. The thing is, thank you so much, Bobby. Thank you. Great.
Thank you so much. We'll chat with you in a couple minutes. Hang tight if you feel like hanging out with us. I know you're wrapping up your bar, my friend, so we'll be here.
So yeah, Cinco de Mayo happened back in 1862. So right after we became independent, we finally got rid of the Spanish people in 1821. 40 years, Mexico was a big mess. No one knew how to run the country. So then the French made a deal with the US and with Germany, and they said, why don't we go back and, invade Mexico again? So they were about to do that when the US and Germany, they said, you know what? I don't think so. So you go along. So the French people were all of a sudden were on their own. So they still came in, and we kicked their butt pretty quick. It was a quick thing. It was nothing important. We don't celebrate that much. But they tried to conquer us again, and they couldn't. But I think the thing lasted like 5 minutes. It was nothing important. Our Independence Day.
5 minutes?
Well, it's a way to say that it lasted nothing. It lasted nothing. I mean, the French were not prepared on their own because they were thinking, they were relying on the U.S. support and the German support. And they say, we bail out, so they didn't support the French. So we kicked their butt pretty quick. So it is not our independence. Our independence, it's in September. Cinco de Mayo, we don't celebrate that much, but I think whomever idea it was a great idea because he gave us an excuse to celebrate. It's the biggest selling tequila day in the entire year in the U.S., and it has become so also in many other places, like Day of the Dead and Cinco de Mayo. So Day of the Dead has become like the second date for a Mexican celebration in all over the world. The Day of the Dead has become very, very popular all over the world. But Cinco de Mayo is the biggest one. But nothing much for us.
Fair enough. But we celebrate it here because in America we celebrate everybody's holiday. Everybody's holiday. St. Patrick's Day, Cinco de Mayo. Valentine really probably means nothing, but whatever. It's a Hallmark holiday. We do that too. We have one more of your core beverages to taste.
Yes.
And, before I do that, I do want to bring in, you were talking about palomas being popular. Anna says palomas are her favorite. She was introduced to them living in Ciudad Mexico in Mexico City. So awesome. Thank you, Anna. They are delicious. The last paloma I had was probably a couple months ago at Hidden House, which is a sister bar of the Brickyard. Amazing. And I did have one with our dear friend Lorenzo as well, who was backstage. We'll have to bring him in a few minutes. But thank you for the history of Cinco de Mayo. I'll bring the boys back. Gentlemen.
Hey.
Is it ready for
Añejo.
Añejo?
Yeah, one of the things you have maybe realized is that if you think about Blanco tequilas, they're all basically non-age. Our Blanco, silver tequila, it's aged for 45 days. Industry standards for Reposado, it's 2 months. Our Reposado, it's 11 months. We always deliver something extra, something more sophisticated, something more elegant than anyone else. We don't just follow the rules. So we have to do this, we do something more. With Añejo, it's not an exemption. So with Añejo, the industry standard for Añejo, it has to be aged for 12 months, 1 year. That's what it means Añejo, año, 1 year. We do 25 months. So once again, we do twice as much or even a month more than twice as much. So we can create because when you said Reposado, it's only a month shy of an Añejo, yeah. So if we do an Añejo for 12 months, that would be like too close. So we did Añejo for 25 months, so we can really separate from the rest and produce something completely different than our Reposado. So Añejo, if you have it there with you, color-wise, it's basically the same as Reposado. There's not a lot of difference. If you check on it very carefully, the brown color on Reposado is more like brown orange. On Añejo, it's more like brown green. It's because of the way we toast and char the barrels. They are toasted and charred differently than the way we toast and char the Reposado. So in this Añejo, I get a lot of dark chocolate. I get a lot of pepper. I get a little bit of butterscotch. And I get a lot of charred oak, and of course, in the end, cooked agave. But the main two things is charred oak, dark chocolate, a little bit of pepper, and you might get, I hope so, tiny hints of pineapple and banana. Sip that and see if you can find it.
It's okay if my lips go a little bit numb, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe more banana than pineapple, but you should find both. You should find both. So these things, they come, all the things we describe, where do they come from? Because we're not adding things to the tequila. They just come from the soil, the terroir, where you grew your agave. It makes a big difference if you grow agave in Arizona, if you grow agave in Alaska, in case you could do that. But so the terroir produces different flavors. Fermentation process, whether you do a induced fermentation process or a completely natural fermentation process, then you get flavors such as banana, pineapple, orange, zest, and things like those. And then the last one of them, you get them from the oak, whether it's charred, higher level, lower level, bigger oak, smaller barrel, old oak, new oak. There's a lot of different things that you can mingle with, and that's where you get the flavors from. So this pepper, chocolate, you get from the barrel, pineapple, banana, you get from the fermentation, some spicy notes you get from the soil. So it's a super smooth sipping tequila, of course. Speaking of people who enjoy drinking whiskey, this is amazing for them. If you hear someone who wants to switch from whiskey to tequila, don't give them silver, give them Añejo. They will love it. More like an after-dinner tequila, more like a cigar tequila, maybe like a dessert tequila. So you can always pair tequilas with any type of food, but it all depends. You want to do ceviches, do silver. You want to do short rib, then do Añejo. you want to do a chocolate mole, poblano mole, you can do añejo. So there's always something for every dish.
Man, Ruben, when are you going to come on our cooking day?
I told him about this. I've told Ruben we've had some chefs on, and I think maybe one of these days, Ruben, how are your cooking skills?
Not so good. I follow my wife's orders, and then I can do something, but I'm not. That's on my bucket list to learn how to cook.
What maybe we will do is we will invite you to pair a tequila with one of our chefs on the show one of these days.
I would love to do that. Yeah.
And you can actually join us, and we'll give you the ingredient list and tell you what you need to have at home to cook, and you can follow along. You can cook with us, and we'll pair a tequila. And we'll talk to you in Casa de Quarantine as well.
Sounds fun. I can do that. Beautiful.
Gentlemen, any questions for Ruben? We're coming up on an hour. Thank you so much for your time. He's 2 hours ahead of us, by the way. So right now it's 10:30 in Guadalajara, and he is still sipping tequila with us. He's going to sleep well tonight.
My wife is waiting for me to have dinner. So.
Wow, this late? I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah, we eat late and we have dinner late. Yeah, so
I'm the same way.
But it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it very much. I hope you met your expectations with me. And anytime you wanna keep on talking about tequila, just give me a call. I'll be more than happy to.
Absolutely. Real quick before you go, I think Brett has a question. Brett, do you have one?
It's less like a question, is more a comment. As somebody that's more of been a whiskey and bourbon person and a craft beer person, especially with craft beer, barrel ages like beers. The four of us on this show sometimes talk about how there's like a flavor story, and you take a sip and you have an initial wave of flavors, and I'm really getting that with the añejo, where I don't get the same flavors in the first quarter second after taking the sip, and then it seems like it evolves in my mouth in terms of the flavor story. And I very much enjoy it. I just want to say I enjoy it.
I'm so happy you enjoyed it. So happy you enjoyed it. Now tell Lorenzo to send you more so you become a real expert.
We're going to bring Lorenzo in here before you go so we can all quickly have a toast together. Adam Green, quick question if you have it.
Yeah. My question is, like you've explained and we've tried these tequilas, there's so much flavor, more character than a lot of us would probably think, or if you're not a tequila person that you would know. And I'm just wondering, what do you feel like the greatest misconceptions are about tequila? Because obviously this is really good stuff and not what traditional or what most people think tequila to be.
Well, tequila misconception, maybe it's due to, back in the day when a lot of us were in college days, sipping or slamming tequila, the wrong quality, not to say any brand, but, maybe they were not really drinking the real good stuff. They were drinking too fast. They were drinking with lime and salt, and maybe drinking cheap margaritas. So tequila is not like that. Tequila, yes, like everything else, there's the crappy beers and wines and whiskeys and vodkas, and there's always the good quality of all of them. So if you follow good tequilas, you'll get a whole new experience of enjoying tequila. Tequila is not something to be afraid of. Tequila, if you ever, I always say, if you fell from the horse because you were drinking the wrong tequila, we need you to get back on the horse, sipping the right tequila. And Herradura, it's one of those brands that can give you that. Misconceptions about tequila, the funny ones are tequila is not made out of a cactus. It's made out of an agave. An agave, it's not a cactus. I often get people ask me, so what about the worm in tequilas? There are no worms in tequilas. There are only worms in low-end mezcales. So even the high-end mezcales, they don't even have the worm. The worm, it's only like a marketing ploy for low-end mezcales. Mezcal, it's not a tequila. It's similar, but it's not exactly tequila. So they are from different region. They are from different plants, kind of like the same process, but mezcal is not a tequila, or mezcal is not a cheap tequila. There are beautiful mezcales out there. There's like they're horrible tequila. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Guys, if you got any questions, pop them in. Adam Green, I'm going to pop you out for a second. I want to bring in our dear friend Lorenzo. Lorenzo.
Hey,
buddy. Salud.
Salud, Lorenzo.
Thank you for
Yes.
set this up. This has been amazing to have Ruben here. And now we're all friends, so I can't wait till we can go to Guadalajara together. Actually, Lorenzo and I are going to start looking at flights like in July. You think that'll be okay? We think you can make it to Mexico in July?
Anytime is a good time to be in Jalisco. And
Yeah, once this COVID thing, lets you kind of like go back to your normal life. Yes, it's always anytime is good. It's only we have to go through this thing.
I'm looking forward to it personally.
One thing I wanted to ask Ruben. So during this quarantine, which of your cars do you miss driving the most?
Little known fact about Ruben. I want to touch on this because we're going to have Ruben back again. And Ruben, when we do this, we're going to plan it out so that we can see your whole garage and everything you've got. Right now, in that house that you're in at the moment, you've got 11 cars, right?
I do. 11 cars that are all European cars. They're all vintage, and they're all from 60s or early 70s.
Well, save a few secrets for next time. For the people who are still hanging out and watching right now, you can find out more about Ruben's cars next time we have him on. But answer Lorenzo's question, what is the one that you got to drive the most during the quarantine?
I think I have done the Mini Cooper, the right-hand side wheel Mini Cooper. It's a 1974 Austin 1000, the old-fashioned, the original Mini Cooper with a right-hand wheel. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
And I believe I remember you told me about that one. That's I had to look it up to see what it looked like exactly, because the Mini Coopers changed over time. But the
look for the original Mini Cooper. That's it.
Yeah.
So we do want to have Ruben back. Ruben, you've been so gracious with your time, and I am always amazed whenever I listen to you talk. I always learn something new. We can always learn something new from each other. And during this quarantine, it's amazing to see how we're truly connecting the world. You're in Mexico, we're in Arizona. So thank you so much. And the next time we get together, we'd like to talk cars. We'd also like to talk more of the barrels, Port Cast, Double Reposado, Ultra, King of Kentucky. Maybe even we can talk about Legend. So next time we can maybe go more in depth into the barrel finishing and those specialty things.
And Lorenzo, that's exactly what I touched on it a bit earlier. And that's exactly what we talked about, is that as this whole thing transitions, the concept of social distance drinking club is that we get to connect with people like you, Ruben, in a different country, in a different state, different time zone, and learn about what you've got going on, learn about the industry from a different aspect, and get a different viewpoint. And that's what this is all about, because eventually we may be able to go to a bar, but we're not going to be able to go sit next to Ruben Aceves while he's in Guadalajara and have a drink, unless we here.
Come down and you'll be able. And if Lorenzo invites me or takes me up to Arizona, we'll be able to sit down and talk about tequila.
I'll tell you what, Ruben, one of these days I'm going to come down with Lorenzo, bring some microphones, bring a couple of cameras. We'll do this show live together, sitting at a table, and that will be a treat, because we will be able to do that after this quarantine is over. We can all sit down at the hacienda even and have this conversation.
Anytime. Don't deal. You can count on it.
Before you go, I'll bring everybody else in, and we will have a quick toast. Salud.
Salud.
Here's to you. Thank you for having me. And Cinco de Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Thank you very much.
So much, Ruben.
Bye. Thank you.
Ruben, Lorenzo, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. It was an absolute pleasure.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you. Enjoy your dinner.
Thanks,
Hasta
Ruben.
luego.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego. Gentlemen, that was a blast. I had a
So fun.
That was great.
Guys, if you're still watching, awesome. Thank you. That was he gave us so much of his time, and I respect that man so much. He's talked to me a few times in the last week, and I've learned so much about tequila. But I hope everyone learned something today and got a little bit of insight. It's amazing. It was just a great conversation. I'm at a loss for words right now. So I want to touch on two things as we broken the 1 hour mark. I told Ruben we would only have him on for like 30 minutes.
Mentiroso.
Yeah, I know, right? There's me. Thanks, buddy, who called Reposado Reposado.
Yeah, Reposado.
Yeah, we'll
Ay, caramba.
we'll touch on Adam Green's taco hat. You appropriating son of a
minor league baseball team.
Well, that was fun. So, guys, there's this thing, right, where all of a sudden Arizona's opening up in 5 days or 6 days. What's going on?
Yeah. Thanks to everybody who commented on the poll. It was nice to actually get a lot of answers in there.
That poll is running until Sunday, by the way. The day before the Open, I do want a full count. So if you haven't already, please share it. I want to get as many people in there as possible. At the moment, I will tell you guys after Adam's done talking what our numbers are at. But Adam, please.
Okay, so big news on the craft beer side of things. There actually is an opportunity. This is just like kind of breaking news, but there is an opportunity that breweries will have an opportunity to open this coming Monday as well. But as you hear that news, remember that just like anything else, there are a lot of specific regulations that need to be taken into account. It's not going to be as easy for somewhere who doesn't already have an established food program. There's definitely a lot of specific social distancing rules that are particular to bars that are particular to producers that are coming into play. So don't expect that all of a sudden every favorite brewery that you've ever been to is going to be open. Just know that there's a chance that some might decide to exercise that right. So pretty cool. Despite personal feelings about whether I'm going to go anywhere, I like the idea that it's going to give some people the option of choice. Let's say it that way.
Isn't the challenge though for the proprietors and the owners of these places too, like we talked about Sunday though, if you can only open with 25% capacity maximum, that brings challenges from being able to operate at a profit on a day-to-day basis, right?
Yeah, I mean, so in any environment where you have complex procedures, I mean, in a restaurant, I mean, that's the far end of the spectrum of difficulty. You've got to understand that you have somebody washing dishes back there, whether you have 1 or 100 people coming into the restaurant, and they've got to be there the whole time. And you have servers who you're asking to come back to work, and you're asking them to kind of automatically have a closer interaction with folks, and they are going to be limited to, at a minimum, half or less of their normal serving area. You've got a lot of considerations. You've got the cost of goods. You know, you don't just punch it into the magic food making computer and hot food comes out. You have to buy all the stuff, and you have to make some sort of reasonable projection for what you're going to do. Balancing that out in a service environment is incredibly complex. In a brewery environment that serves food, you're still looking at those challenges, but in a taproom environment, it's a little bit more simplified. So those perils of complexity and the amount of pre-work and kind of guessing that you have to do are diminished for the most part. But again, without going into too many details, because it's important for me not to say the wrong thing and give people the wrong impression, but there are several considerations that any business is going to have to make ahead of time, and they're going to have to really cross the T's and dot the I's. So it certainly is not as simple as it seems from a profit-making standpoint, from a government policy and procedure standpoint, and even just from a should we be doing this standpoint. Everybody's got a bunch of different opinions. So it's a very, very delicate, very heavy and delicate choice at the same time.
Yeah. I guess I asked just for even our viewers to like consider that even though the government says you may open up, it might not make a business sense. And even if people do, it might have, for example, very limited food menus, or
Exactly.
do they have to say like, hey, if you're coming in, you got to call ahead and you're spending this much dollars, because otherwise it doesn't make business sense for you to come in and have a Michelob Ultra. You know, you just lost me $20.
Which is something that if we were talking about this while Brandon Casey was on, he would have talked about what he's been looking at in terms of numbers at like the Woodshed. I know that Bobby probably had some input on it as the GM over at Brickyard, and I want to touch more on this. I don't want to spoil this, because Sunday being the day before the official Arizona Open, I want to talk more about this. And I think once we have like all the poll results by Sunday, it'll be fun to see what the numbers are. I will tell everyone right now, it is right around 24 to 25% said yes. So the rest are a no on going out. I don't want to touch on this for too long here. I want to tease it. Sunday's going to be a lot of fun. We've got some people chatting with us on Sunday from out of state. And then we'll probably talk about this again on Tuesday, the day after, when we have my dear friend Matt James from Bathtub Gin & Co. in Seattle, one of my favorite bars, the original cocktail bar that I had an exposure to at 21 years old. My first shot of Fernet. So,
Where it all began.
What do you got? Hold on. What do you got?
Going with the single cut, softly spoken magic spells.
Perfect. Guys, thank you for watching. I'm going to bring Lorenzo in real quick. We'll do a quick toast and wish everyone a good night. Lorenzo, real quick, 2 minutes. If you got anything you want to add, I know that you mentioned in our chat that 70% capacity is not enough for people to make money. I know we'll talk about it, like I said, on Sunday and Monday, or Sunday and Tuesday.
You brought up some really, really great points, but a lot of people, the common person has no clue. They have no idea. It's like, let's open up, let's go, but they have no idea everything that has to be done to prepare to open your doors. 1 cook, 2 cooks, line people, bartender. I mean, it's really, really good discussion points that you brought up. I'm glad that you guys are thinking about that, because I'm in the business too, but from the other side. I come from the craft beer. When I got started, I started with Miller Brewing Company, and I was with craft beer with Breakthrough Beverage, and we had beer. And so I empathize with everybody in this business, and I can appreciate everything you guys do. So it was really a pleasure to meet you guys and be associated with you guys, and whatever I can do to bring the light, from Brown Foreman steward standpoint or in beer discussions. We have a lot of people that buy barrels, and they don't always want their barrel. And he's right. That barrel, that second time it goes to double barrel, we get that barrel and it's never been used. Just 1 month it had tequila in it, and they come ship to us. And so, if you guys ever interested in grabbing one of them and experimenting with it, we can work something out for sure.
Guys, next level homebrew.
Listen. I'm thinking homebrew. I'm thinking an SDDC collab with a local brewery. Let's all work on that. Adam, I'm going to put you as the main man in charge of figuring out when we can do a local brewery collaboration. Everybody point at Adam. We're just going to point at Adam here. There it is.
All right.
Guys, as always, to end the show, thank you for joining us. I appreciate everyone who has taken their time on Cinco de Mayo to join us today. This has been an absolute blast. I learned a lot today. I hope you guys did. I hope you enjoyed the tastes that you had. Ruben Aceves was an amazing guest. Lorenzo, thank you for helping set this up. Thank you to Tequila Herradura. Thank you to Brown Foreman and Breakthrough Beverage. And to everyone watching at the moment, thank you for spending Cinco de Mayo with us. Salud.
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 Salud. And don't be a Karen if you go to a restaurant on Monday.